Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. Tonight we're going to talk about Bitcoin and why the price is not moving. I'm just going to give it some time to see who joins. We've got one person to join right now. We're just going to give it another minute before we get started. See if anybody else joins tonight. Give a comment in the chat though. Who's with me so far? Okay, give it another minute. All right. Let's go. Let's just jump right to it. So, Bitcoin, what is going on with Bitcoin? Why is it not moving? Well, I think I have the answer, and we'll talk about it. But first, let's just see where it is. So, we'll just go to the good old trading view. So right now, coming alive a little bit. This is the 1 minute chart. Let's jump out a bit. See what's going on here. So Bitcoin's kind of been hovering at this 56K range now. Almost 57. And a lot of people are wondering, well, what's going on? Is it because of the pandemic? Is it because of the new variants? Yeah, I do think that plays a very big role. Because when you look at the stock market too, the stock market has taken a little bit of a beating since the new variant was announced. So what is the real big reason for this Bitcoin holding at 56, 57K range? Let's go through it. And it is all about options. So a lot of times in the markets, the options expiration dates dictate a lot of the price action. And I'll show you why that is. Let me just see here. Okay, open interest. Let me just go ahead and select. Yeah, so I selected tomorrow to show the open interest for tomorrow's expiring options for Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin hovering at 56.7. The max pain price is at 57,000 for tomorrow. So what that means is that the exchanges that sell the options make the most money. The most people get their options liquidated, and the exchanges make the most money. That's why it's the max pain. And people lose the most money, or lose more often than they would win, or the majority of, I guess, it's when the majority of people would feel the most pain, and that's at $57,000 tomorrow. So a lot of times you'll see Bitcoin line up with what the max pain price is for the options market. So you have institutional investors sort of moving the market, moving the market around to try to manipulate it to be at the max pain price, especially these exchanges that have the ability to unload, either dump Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. They have a lot of wiggle room on how to adjust this around, and it doesn't always land on the max pain price, but it certainly is interesting that it can happen and that it surprisingly does happen. So that's the max pain price, and we're sitting at 57 right now. If we sort of go out to the max pain for Saturday is at 56. It's very interesting. Will Bitcoin just continue to hover at this 57, 56K range on Friday and Saturday? I would say that's very possible. Very possible, if not likely to happen. Doesn't always happen, but it is very possible. And then when we sort of look out, let's go to the 10th. The one that matters the most when it comes to options is always the end of the month. That's when the most options expire. So that's usually the most telling. So 56K here on the 10th as well. Let's go to the end of the month, 31st of December. See, this I find interesting because right now the max pain is at 48,000. This would indicate a massive drop in Bitcoin pricing if we were to hit these levels. Now, a lot can change from, now until then. The max pain could definitely move around as we get closer to expiration. But so this is just sort of forward looking. And I'm not going to necessarily use this as a model to determine where the price is going to be, but it is good to look at as a frame of reference to see, why the price is holding where it is at different times in the market. And so let's just check out a few other things. So one thing I noticed was that there's 70, I think there's like 30% more call buys than put buys, so somewhat indicating that the price on the options is expected to go up. Let's check this out. Top trading. So we can see here, it's actually more people selling calls. That's interesting. Because if they're selling a call, then they probably want the price to go down. Yeah. In terms of people buying calls, that's the next one. Guess that makes sense. Let's see here. Now, this one is interesting because we have the options flow over a 24-hour period. So we have sort of the buy and sell volume over the last 24 hours for all expirations. And this I found to be crazy when I looked at this earlier, was that the puts, the volume on the puts, the put buys? Yeah, the put buys, this shows a put buy blocked. I'm not sure what that means, but the put buys are still very high. And, that's people assuming that the price will go down and hit 50,000 by tomorrow, Boy, I hope that doesn't happen. But there is a lot of that happening. We see it here on this side as well. In addition to that, we see a lot of calls at 56K. You know, still a lot at 60 though, and at 64. So it's hard to say where it's going to move, but a lot of this kind of, it gives you an idea of what the institutional investors are doing and where they're placing their bets. Always a nice frame of reference. Hmm. Yeah, and when I look at this, over the last 24 hours, this is also interesting because it tells you that most people are buying weekly options, or at least the quantity of options. I don't know if this is measured by the options contracts. I assume that like the volume somehow. I'm not sure what 805 means. I guess it's thousands. Thousands of what though? Thousands of contracts? Not sure what the values mean. But regardless, more people are buying weekly options. Some people buying daily options. Very interesting. And then, a lot of people buying for the month. But interesting to see that most people do it on a weekly basis. I guess that makes sense when you think about it. A lot of the price action happens over, just a few days. It doesn't really, using it on a month, your returns are going to be lower. And, the amount of the big disparity that can happen in price difference can happen over just a couple days, like 5 days, 3 days. Then the heat map I found interesting because, let's see here. So we have December 3rd. Tomorrow, if we look at this column, it's kind of hard to see in my face, so I'll try to scroll up. So we see here that the biggest bet is right here at the 867. This is by far the biggest bet where people are putting their bets that Bitcoin is going to hit 62,000 by tomorrow. A lot of people at 63, 64. And then, when we look at the puts, we're looking at almost in the money at 779, 55,000, 54,000, 53,000, and the largest of the puts is down at 50,000K. 50,000. That's interesting. Somebody loaded up. It'd be interesting to know if it was a lot of different buys or if somebody just loaded up at 50K this week. Okay. So that's mostly what I wanted to discuss with options, what's going on with the price, all that good stuff. Now I'm just going to hang out for a little while, see if anybody else wants to join, and just check out the markets. ADA dropping quickly. Be interesting to see if Link breaks this level. That's 60. Alrighty, I'm going to call it a night. Just continue to look at the charts, but whoever's with me, thanks for joining, and see you guys in the next one.